Today's show is sponsored by Screencastify, the tool millions of teachers use to record screen videos for their classroom. Stay tuned at the end of the show to learn more about the #1 screencasting tool for Google Chrome. Books to Africa and Becoming a Global Educator, episode 233.
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
Today, we're talking with my friend Julie Hembree. She is in Seattle, Washington, and she and I have actually spent some time together when I was out there at an event. Julie, you have kind of traveled some, and you're doing a lot with literacy. Tell us a little bit about where your journey to connect to the world has taken you.
Well, I am very passionate about the fact that I think all children should have equal access to education. And through traveling to South Africa now twice, I have had the opportunity to bear witness to the inequities that I've seen in different places in the world and how some children have access to quality education and some children don't. And so this bothers me because the UN is working on the Sustainable Development Goals and their belief and work toward making sure that all children have inclusive and quality education. And so I think that my students can be part of that. So I'm working toward that.
What are you and your students doing to help students in other places have a better education?
At this point, it's trifold. So I have had a Books to Africa program going since 2012. And every year my students do a coin drive and they raise money to pay for the shipping of books. And we ship gently used or new books to teachers that I have met personally in Africa, South Africa, Lesotho, Nigeria, Zambia. And then the other activity that we've started this year is we've joined the We School movement. And so we are also collecting books to bring to children who are in the local hospitals during the holidays and that don't have access to books there. And then the third thing that I'm trying to do is bring focus to illiteracy. And I'm working with a teacher, Tammy Dunbar, in California, and we've developed a program called Cultivate World Literacy that's going to go live in January. But it's a global collaboration project where teachers can sign up and be part of a 5-week project and meet with one another via Skype and investigate the whole idea of literacy and illiteracy and how it is different around the world.
You feel like your students are really passionate about literacy? Are they feeding off your passion? Are they becoming advocates for this?
Yes, I think they're feeding off it because I have kids coming in and when are you starting Books to Africa? And I love it when they come up to me and are asking about it because we always start this in January in the new year. It works out better for our schedule. And so to see the kids coming and asking me and wanting to know or bringing me books ahead of time, or do you think this would be good for us to send overseas? I love seeing that energy coming from the students, and parents give me feedback as well and are emailing me and wanting to know when we're going to start. So I think we're really trying to have a culture of literacy at our school and sharing what we have with those less fortunate.
I love that. So it really is becoming part of what they think.
Yes. Most definitely. They love it. They like to be involved. And when we Skype with students and they can see the other students on the other side and really realize they're just the same, the differences are really that they live in a different country. And so they're kids inside. They might not have the same opportunities, but inside, they're kids that love to play. They like to have fun. They play games. We eat different food, but differences are few, and the things that are similar are great.
What is the most remarkable thing your students have learned as part of this process?
That they can make a difference. When they see pictures and I come back with stories about the books that they have sent and seeing pictures and stories from overseas, and they really grasp the idea that the work that they are doing is just not going out into the atmosphere somewhere, that it's actually going to a person. And this person is holding a book on camera with us and saying, hey, I read this book. And, they're talking back and forth about it. That's exciting. They really begin understanding that they have the ability to make a difference in another person's life.
So if I had talked to you 8 or 9 years ago before this transformation happened, would you have believed that you'd be where you are now?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you had asked me 10 years ago if I would be doing this, I wouldn't have. It's been a real huge transformation for me, and it's been a wonderful way for me to find my passion, because I've always been passionate about education and reading, but I've kind of found my global focus. Yeah, it makes me feel good inside. It's very rewarding.
So, Julie, what started this transformation? What was the decision that has taken you this direction?
Well, the funny story is that we found some books. And when I went to the kids and said, what do you want to do with it? They said, hey, we want to do this. It was turning the power over to students. Every time I've turned the power to kids and said, what do you think? What do you want to do? They've taken me on a ride that has been absolutely amazing. And so when I take myself out of it and let them drive, great things happen. And so, that's been the transformation, listening to them and going forward and not giving up when times have been difficult, and just letting them see what they can do and going along for the ride, I guess.
So they said, when you said, what do you want to do with these books? What did they say they wanted to do?
Well, they said that they wanted to give them to some children that, needed help. So they did some research and found out where, the most need was. And at that time, they found out it was Africa. And so I met up with teachers through the Microsoft Educator program, and my students had made a video and kind of made an advertisement. And I took it to these teachers and said, hey, these are what my kids would like to do. Are you interested? And they were. And now we've had one person that we've been connecting with since the very beginning. He lives in Lesotho, and our students have been connecting for the last 5 years. So it's really a long-term project that's had a lot of rewards.
And you probably have some of those students now who are getting a little older, don't you?
Yeah, some of them are now in middle school and high school, and so I hear back from time to time. But we're also expanding. We last spring sent over some instruments because we found out that the school didn't have any kind of instruments, and our music teacher and PE teacher, we all wanted to work together. So he found some old recorders that weren't being used anymore, and we packed them up and shipped them over to the school. And tomorrow, on their last day of the school year, the school is playing Mary Had a Little Lamb on the recorders that we sent over. So it's kind of fun to bring literacy and music together and let kids know. I mean, look what they can do when they have access to quality things.
Do you ever get criticized for this?
Not so far, but, it could happen.
Well, sometimes people will say, well, what are they learning? Are they taking the test or this, how can you even say that? This is such a great project.
Well, I tell you what the kids are learning. They're learning how to be global citizens. And you can't be a citizen in this world without learning how to get along with others. And so I think that what we're doing can't be done on a test. These are the soft skills that students need to learn so that they can be future citizens, so that they can be citizens that work well with other people around the world.
I will put the link into the project, since this should be airing in January 2018 when this will be going live. Julie Hembree is definitely somebody you want to follow. I find her very exciting, and also very exciting to get lost in Seattle with. She showed me Seattle, and it was so amazing and so memorable. Just a charming, hospitable person who is changing the world with her passion for literacy. And I would just encourage you, remarkable teachers, two big things. One, she is handing over a lot of the drive and energy to her students and going where they want to go. And I know that's one of my own secrets to transformation, is really empowering my students. And when you empower your students, you don't just change your students' lives, You change your own life, and then just connecting with the world and being the connector. And I think that's a big job for teachers in the modern era, is that we're kind of those connectors. We're kind of that glue to the world and that introducer to the world. Just very exciting, Julie. Well done.
Thank you.
Screencastify is the screencasting tool I recommend for Google Chrome and Chromebooks. Get started for free at screencastify.com/coolcat. Screencastify was built especially for Chromebooks and saves all of your recordings directly into Google Drive. It is an essential tool for making flipped lessons, student videos, and creative formative assessment. Screencastify is the tool I use when my students start programming video games in Scratch. I have them record a screencast for me to demonstrate the program as well as talk about their code. Now, if you want to go for unlimited editing, request a quote for your school and be sure to mention Cool Cat Teacher for a discount. Go to screencastify.com/coolcat. That's SCREENCASTIFY.com/coolcat and get screencasting.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.